Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this particular video, we'll be looking into the t-test in inferential statistics, which is a statistical hypothesis testing technique for small samples. So without further delay, let's start. So first we'll look at the introduction to t-test, its definition, and some details of it. So what exactly it is? It is a parametric statistical hypothesis test, which means it which means it assumes that your data follows a normal distribution. It determines significant difference between means. That means same as what your Z test does, this also does the same. It actually compares the significant difference between your population mean and your sample mean. It is ideal for small samples, whereas your Z test was ideal for larger sample where your n value is greater than 30. But this t test is great for such scenarios where your sample size n is lesser than or is lesser than 30. It works even when your population standard deviation or your population variance is unknown. So this is the beauty of t-test, that you can simply calculate the significant difference between both the means even when your standard deviation of the population is unknown to you, it is not known to you. Here t-test requires approximately normal distribution. This is something which is mandate for t-test. Now why to use t-test? Real world data often has small samples. You cannot get always larger samples for any kind of data. There are multiple domains and it is very difficult to get samples of such domain specific data. And also Z test require known population variance. Yes, this is the disadvantage of Z test, that it always and must require the population variance. Population variance is usually not available. Hence, t test is preferred in practice. It is more robust for real world applications. So it has multiple advantages over Z test. So this is a statistical formula of t test. We'll be looking it into the further slides. For now, I hope the introduction to t test is clear to you all. Next, there are some assumptions for t test. So there are five things that you need to understand before going forward to the t test. First is the quantitative data. Data must be numerical, interval or ratio scale. It has to follow this particular criteria. Second, random sampling. Samples must be randomly selected from a population. It should not be like that all the points in your sample are of the same type. It has to follow some randomness. Thirdly, it should follow the normal distribution. Population follows approximately normal distribution. This is must. Fourth is the independence. Observations must be independent of each other, unknown variance. And fifth, unknown variance. Your population variance, that is nothing but standard deviation square, is unknown to you. If any of these assumptions are violated, then t-test results will always be incorrect or misleading. So you should be properly taking care of all these things. All these assumptions must be properly taken care. Now, if your assumptions are clear, you can go forward with your t-test. Now there are three types of t-test: one sample t-test, independent t-test, and paired t-test. Here one sample t-test compares your sample mean with a known population mean. For example, is the average height of students different from national average? So let's say you have a particular classroom. In classroom you have 60 students. You have average height of those 60 students, and you are now comparing that average height with all the Indian students height of same age. So this is where you can use one sample t-test. Second, independent t-test compares means of two independent samples. So over here you are comparing two sample means. No population mean is involved. For example, you are comparing group A scores with the group B scores. This is fair for your independent t-test. Third is your paired t-test, wherein you compare means of paired or related samples. For example, did training improve performance before versus after? So basically, you are using the same sample mean, but you are comparing both of them before or after some application of changes. So I hope all these three types of t-test are clear to you all. Now let's move on to one sample t-test. So the purpose of this is to check whether the sample mean differs significantly from a given population mean. So let's define some hypothesis. So the hypothesis is like there are two, null and alternative. Null hypothesis is where your population mean is equal to your sample mean, and your alternative hypothesis is stating that they are strictly unequal, or one of them is greater than the other. So the test statistic formula for one sample t test is as follows. T value is equals to x bar minus mu 0 whole divided by, in brackets, s divided by the square root of n, where your x bar is nothing but the sample mean, mu 0 is nothing but the population mean, s is nothing but the sample's standard deviation. Note this thing carefully. Your t-test doesn't require population standard deviation. It requires your sample standard deviation, and square root of n, and your n value is nothing but the sample's size or the number of data points in sample. One more concept is there, degree of freedom. Df is nothing but n minus 1, which is nothing but the total number of data points in your sample minus 1. Now for getting to a conclusion, you should compare your mod t value with your t critical from the t table. So like how your z table was there, same t table is present where you get the critical value of t for that particular level of significance. And once you get the t critical value, you can simply compare it with your mod t value which you get from computing this particular formula. Now let's move on to a simple example and see how this works. So this is your problem statement. A sample of 10 students has an average score of 72. So there are 10 students. The average score of all of them is 72 with a standard deviation of 6. Now the standard deviation 6 is nothing but the standard deviation of this particular 10 students. That means the sample only. Test at 5% significance level whether the average score differs from 75. So 75 is nothing but your population mean, and your average score of 72 is nothing but your sample mean. So we have the data gathered from the problem statement. Now let's define as per the steps. Now let's define step by step everything before moving on to a conclusion. First step is to define the hypothesis. So let's define the null hypothesis as mu equals 75, and your alternative hypothesis h1 as mu is not equal to 75, which is two-tailed. Next, from the given data, we have got these things. First is n equals to 10, that means your sample size is 10. X bar, which is nothing but your sample mean, is 72. S, which is the standard deviation of the mean, is 6. Mu 0 is the population mean, which is nothing but 75. Alpha, which is the level of significance, which is 5%, which is nothing but 0.05. Step 3 is to put all these values in the formula and get the value of t. So if you put all these value accurately in the formula, we get the t value as minus 1.58. Step 4, which is a new step in this particular t-test computation, which is to calculate the degrees of freedom. So degree of freedom is nothing but n minus 1, which is your number of sample size, which is 10 minus 1, which is nothing but 9. So your df is nothing but 9 degree of freedom. Step 5 is to get your critical value from the t table. So from the t table, at alpha equals 0.05 and the df equals 9. So remember, for calculating the t critical value from the t table, you require two things. First is that level of significance, and second is the degree of freedom. So for both of these, you get the t critical as plus minus 2.262. This is the t critical value from the t table. Next step is to decide. So you have your mod t value as 1.58 and you have your t critical value as 2.262, which is nothing but, which says that this your mod t is lesser than your t critical value. Since mod t is lesser, it means we have to accept the null hypothesis, because see, the range is what, plus minus 2.262. So if the value won't lie in this particular range, so if the value doesn't lies in this particular range, minus 2.262 plus 2.262, then in that case we should reject the null hypothesis. But since 1.58 lies between minus 2.262 to plus 2.262, then in that is why we are saying that we fail to reject the null hypothesis. That means we are accepting the null hypothesis, which means that there is no significant difference between your sample mean and the population mean 75. So this is how you should be executing your t-test. So by this example, I hope you have understood the entire concept of t-test and its numerical. Following the same steps, we can solve any kind of problem, may it be of one sample t-test, may it be of paired t-test, may it be of independent t-test. So I hope one sample t-test is clear to you all. Now let's have a look at the independent two sample t-test. So here, as we know that in independent two sample t-test, we simply compute the difference between, we simply see whether there is a significant difference between the mean of one sample with the mean of another sample. So here, in this particular case, you can see, for example, comparing the test score of students from two different schools. Both of them are samples, but they are different, right? So if there is a scenario of comparing the mean of two samples, then in that case we can use independent two sample t-test. Null hypothesis is that both the sample means are same. Alternative hypothesis is that there is a significant difference, they both are not same. Conditions are samples are independent, both population are normally distributed, and equal variance for pooled t-test. So this is the formula of test statistics for equal variance or pooled t-test. So over here you can see. So over here you can see we have multiple things in this particular formula. Why? Because there are two samples in here. So we have x1 bar, which is the mean of which is the mean of first sample. X2 bar is mean of second sample. X1 bar minus x2 bar, the whole divided by, in brackets, SP, which is nothing but the pooled variance. We'll be calculating it separately, multiplied by square root of, in brackets, 1 by n1. N1 is nothing but the sample size of the first sample, plus 1 by n2. N2 is nothing but the sample size of the second sample. When you compute all of them, you get the t value for this particular test. The pooled variance formula is like sp square is equals, in brackets you have n1 minus 1, the whole multiplication with s1's square, that means standard deviation of the first sample square, plus n2 minus 1 multiplied by s2 square, that means the standard deviation of sample 2, divided by, in brackets, n1 plus n2 minus 2, where your n1 plus n2 minus 2 is nothing but your degree of freedom for this particular test. So I know the formula is little bit bigger than your previous one sample t-test, but the entire process is more or less the same. First, you define the hypothesis, you simply compute the t-value with the help of the formula, you compute the degree of freedom. With both these, with the level of significance and the degree of freedom, you compute the t-critical value from the t-table. Once you get that, you compare it with the actual t-value that you have got, and you finally make the decision. The entire formulation of steps is the same, just the formula is different. So I hope this particular thing is also clear, and if any numerical comes regarding this particular t-test, regarding this particular two sample t-test, I hope you will be able to solve it. Next, we have paired t-test. So this is the dependent samples. So this is based on the dependent samples, wherein you have the same sample, but just you compare the mean of both after applying some changes to the same sample. So when to use it? When same subjects are measured twice after some application of changes. Observations are dependent before or after studies, pre-test versus post-test comparisons. So in all such cases, you use your paired t-test. Real world examples like blood pressure before and after the medication, student scores before and after the training, weight before and after the diet program, productivity before and after the intervention. So for all such scenarios, you use paired t-test. I hope you are understanding the concept. If you are not still understanding it, please put your comments in the comment section regarding this. I'll create a separate video on paired t-test and independent t-test. So test statistic formula for this paired t-test is nothing but d bar divided by, in brackets, standard deviation of d divided by square root of n, where your d bar is nothing but mean of differences. D is equals to x1 minus x2. X1 is your scenario 1 sample mean, x2 is your scenario 2 sample mean. SD is nothing but the standard deviation of differences, x1 minus x2. N is nothing but number of paired observations, number of samples, number of sample points. df is nothing but the degree of freedom, which is n minus 1 in this particular case, because in both the cases n value is same, right? You are measuring for same sample size, and further all the processes same, just the formulas are different. So I hope this particular thing is clear about paired t-test. Now, just to summarize, the steps to perform t-test are as follows. First you state the hypothesis, then then select the alpha level, that means your level of significance, which is defined by experts of that particular domain. Compute the t statistics in the third step, then find the critical value from the t table using the df, that is degree of freedom, and the level of significance. Fifth is the comparison of the values between the t critical and t calculated. Sixth step is to make the decision whether to reject the null hypothesis or to accept it. Seventh step is to write the conclusion, state results in plain words. This is very important. Now, just for keeping everything summarized and clear, I've simply jotted all the tips and formulas in one single slide, so you can simply have a look at it. I hope the entire concept of t-test, along with the types and the numericals, along with all the formulations, is clear to you all. I also have discussed the real life applications of t-test. If you guys have any single doubt or suggestion, put it in the comment section. I'll be happy to reply on all your comments. If you like this particular video, please do like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Also hit the bell icon and don't forget to follow me on Instagram. Please join me on Telegram. Thanks for watching. Have a good day ahead.